Dave Palumbo with RxMuscle.com. In the Iron Asylum with Mr. Natural Olympia, John Hansen. We were here 1 week before the Natural Mr. Universe. We're here at Powerhouse Gym in Tampa, Florida. Welcome back, John.
Hey, Dave. Great to be back.
Well, congratulations. This took place before the Natural Mr. Olympia. Before the Natural Mr. Universe. You just won your third title. But the most amazing thing about that was the first one you won was back in '92, and the third one you won was 20 years later. What gave you the impetus to want to get back on that stage again?
Well, it started last year because I was dieting and I made the cover of Ironman magazine and I was in good shape, and some guys talked me into doing a show. So that was the first time in like 7 years I'd been on stage, and I did the Natural Olympia last year in 2011, but I wasn't really ready for it. I didn't practice my posing enough, and just being off stage for so long, I was just really out of practice. So I didn't do that well, and right after that I wanted to come back, and then I found out the Natural Universe was going to be held in Chicago the following year, and then I thought about it, and I said, wow, that's like 20 years since I won the first one. So being in my hometown of Chicago and then the 20-year anniversary, I just thought I had to come back, and I trained really, really hard for it right after the beginning of the year. We started January 1st and trained for 8 solid months and dieted for 6 months and really went all out to win it, and I did. I came in much better shape. My posing was much better, obviously, and I even did a warm-up show and just made sure that I was really ready 100% to win.
Now, comparing yourself to what you looked like 20 years ago, and be honest, you think you were better today, or were you better 20 years ago?
Actually, believe it or not, I think I was leaner this time, 20 years later. Obviously, I was a little bit bigger when I was younger. I was 49 this time and 29 the first time. So I was a little fuller, a little bigger, 20 years ago, but I actually got more ripped this time than I did before.
Now, as a natural competitor, I mean, all your life, and you've been this is something you've been very proud of, and I don't think anyone would even challenge, because your physique is, really never taken leaps and bounds like someone who would have taken some kind of performance-enhancing substances. Do you find it harder at age 49? Because, most guys, and I work with a lot of clients, and we send them for blood work. Most guys over the age of 40 have lower testosterone levels, that would not be conducive to keeping muscle mass on.
Right. Yeah, I've never gotten mine tested, and I always want to do that, and I still haven't done it. I'm sure mine's lower now than it was, 20 years ago or 15 years ago. But, I just try and train as heavy as I can, and I'm still pretty strong for my age. And the main thing, obviously for natural shows is you got to be as lean as possible. I mean, that's the way they're judging natural bodybuilding now, is the most ripped guy wins. A lot of these natural bodybuilders aren't even that big. They're just really, really ripped. So that's more of a challenge also as you get older, because, your testosterone level's lower, your growth hormone levels are lower, so it's harder to get ripped. So that's why I dieted for so long. I dieted 24 weeks for the show.
Wow.
And I wasn't even fat when I started, so I probably over-dieted a little bit looking back at it, and I probably dieted a little longer than I needed to, but I just wanted to make sure that I was really ripped and really lean as possible, for this contest.
Well, I think there might be something to say, and this is just a theory of mine, but most bodybuilders that I see that are over the age of 40 have used some kind of testosterone or anabolic steroids, and maybe that's why their testosterone is a little suppressed. But then again, I see guys that never used them, but don't really train that hard and have low testosterone. Do you think it's because you've always trained hard, that you've almost trained your body to keep that testosterone level higher, because it's like adaptive almost, in your sense?
Yeah, that's possible. I think just like you said, just staying consistent. I've been training for 35 years now, because I started when I was 14, so I've never stopped training. I've never gone easy. I've never taken a layoff, so I've always trained hard, and I think sure that has a lot to do with, maintaining the physique and maintaining what I have.
You saw Rick Shaft do a little bicep pose after you. Talk to me a little bit about injuries, because, I'm suffering, or recovering, I should say, from a quad tear here. It was my first major injury, but I have, bad shoulders in the sense that I have some arthritis in there. Do you have any real nagging injuries that you can report to us and make me feel better about myself about?
Well, the worst thing is my lower back. I've got compressed disc in my spine, and that's been going on for many, many years. So I just try to work around it as best I can. I can no longer do deadlifts anymore, which really sucks, because I love doing deadlifts when I did back. But I can do everything else. I could still squat. I do pause squats where I hold it on the bottom for 2 seconds before coming back up, which makes it more of a quad exercise.
Sure.
And I still do bent over rows. I still do T-bar rows. I still do cable rows. So I still am able to do a lot of back exercises and even a lot of leg exercises. I can go heavy on stiff-legged deadlifts. I just can't do regular deadlifts. So that's the main thing. I just got to really be careful. I do yoga, try to do it every day, like a 20-minute tape where I try and stretch the spine. And
it's important.
I try and do lower back exercises just to keep it strong.
I think that's very important. A lot of guys, I wish I kind of do stretching every day. I don't do it as disciplined as the 20-minute yoga tape. I did take some yoga classes a while back, and I think you're right. As we get older, our bodies do get stiffer, and that's probably something we all should incorporate, even if you don't even work out. I'm watching you do some biceps now. You got the freaky biceps. Now, you did tear one a couple years back, correct?
Yeah, back in 2000, so it's been a while.
Yeah, I can't even tell the difference. I mean, do you notice any difference yourself?
No, there's no difference as far as the size. And actually, I think the right one, which is the one I tore, is actually a little bit bigger.
You got a better peek on it. The doctor improved it.
Yeah.
Talk to me also about, you've been doing this so long, and I find, at least in my mind, it's very hard to stay that motivated. You really hadn't competed in quite a while, aside from this year. What keeps you motivated to go into the gym day in and day out? And I know Aaron used to see you all the time in Powerhouse down there in Tampa, and he's like, you train like it's your first day in the gym.
I did take that long layoff, so I had that 7 years off. But I really think a big part of it was moving to Tampa from Chicago. When I went to that gym, that Powerhouse gym in downtown Tampa, it's just so motivating because there's so many. Everybody in that gym is in shape. A normal gym, like 10 or 15% of the members are in really good shape. This gym's just the opposite. It's like 85 to 90% of the members are in unbelievable shape, even the guys that don't compete.
Sure.
So when I first moved here from Chicago, I sort of felt intimidated because all the young guys were all ripped and in shape. So it sort of motivated me to get in better shape, and I did that cover of Ironman, and now I had the competition. So it was always some kind of outside influence that was motivating me to, really push myself to get as good as I could get.
Well, 90% of the female bodybuilders, the professional female bodybuilders, I think, live in Tampa now. I don't know what the draw is there, but they all seem to have moved down there. Now, when you first came to the gym there, I'm sure a lot of the younger guys had no clue who you are.
Right.
Was it the Ironman cover that kind of, put you on the map and got the respect you needed from these guys?
Yeah, I think so. When I started getting in shape, people started looking at me a little differently, and then when I made the cover, the owners there are so great. They made this big poster, and they put it up on the wall so everybody saw it. So, I think that helped me get a little bit of respect, like you said.
You got credibility now, huh?
Right.
You still got some of the classic poses. You got those thick, blocky abs that I'm kind of jealous of, and you got still... who taught you how to pose? Who gave you because you always were known as like a real classic poser on stage.
Yeah, believe it or not, it was my younger brother, and my younger brother really wasn't even in bodybuilding, but he was an artist. He took art classes in high school, and he actually makes his living as a commercial artist now.
Interesting.
And when I was a teenager, he used to go with me to all the competitions, and he would help me with my posing at home, and he would say, no, hold your arm up this way, and you got to hold your arms across straight, and if you twist your waist here, your symmetry will look better. And he just had a really good eye for the aesthetics of physiques because he came from that art background, and he's the really one that taught me how to do the poses right. And then I just copied, the classic guys like Arnold and Ed Corney and all those guys that with the transitions and the powerful transitions, and I tried to do that with my posing and do the three-quarter back and the front double bicep and the twisting bicep and all that stuff.
As you know, you're only as good as your last competition. You won the natural Mr. Universe. Now you're nothing again. Are you going to compete again and try to, keep sustaining this? I mean, I know there's got to be some kind of a draw to that competing at the age of 50 to you.
Yeah, next year I'll be 50, so there's that. So maybe I'll go for something else. I want to have a longer off season this time to maybe get a little bit more muscle mass and then do a little bit of a shorter diet, maybe not 24 weeks, but maybe 16 weeks or even 20 weeks. And just come in really ripped, but try and make improvements again. You know, I'm a bodybuilder like everybody else, and we never think we're good enough, and we could always improve this or always improve that. And I think I really came in great shape this year as far as being really ripped and lean, but I think I just need to be a little fuller and a little bigger next year, and I'm probably going to go for it again.
Would you think of doing maybe the NPC Masters Nationals and try to get your pro card like in that division?
I don't think so, because being natural, you know, I did a warm-up show before this show, and it was actually 5 weeks before this show, so it was quite a bit of ways, but it was an NPC non-tested show, and I did the Masters, and there's just such a big difference between being natural and the guys who are not natural. I think I'd be doing it at the NPC
maybe
national
not
level.
At 50 years old, you might. I see these 50-year-old guys, but there's, you're right up there with these guys.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll give it a shot.
You got to twist your arm, John.
Yeah.
Well, John, thanks for the great coverage you helped down in Sarasota at the Sarasota Pro,
welcome.
and hopefully we'll be getting to do some more Florida coverage for us next year. For now, though, we're out of time. I'm Dave Palumbo with John Hansen in the RNSI.